Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. It is Saturday, March 21st, and you know what that means. It is time for the High Risk Wrestling Podcast. I am your host, Eason Long, coming out of the Revolution. Yeah. Jeremy Pierce, welcome one and all. You know you can check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course 215 on Twitter. And today's show, NXT 3.0. It's kind of the name I've given the new era of NXT, as we had NXT 2.0, where they kind of just really pushed that forward. But we're going to talk about what's going on with NXT right now, the future of the brand, the stars, and how they are looking, as well. They have just lost some major stars to the main roster. We're going to dive into all of that, but for now, you know what's next, so just go on and hit my music. One of the things I like about NXT is that they were the first to have their own mid-card championship before the main roster, and these are the current best challengers for the respective North American championships. And we start with number 5, Charlie Dempsey. He is now a part of the Birthright stable after turning on his tag team partner, Tavion Heights, and there's something there about him. He's not there yet for world title contention, but to take that step, that next step, North American Championship, and he will probably end up having a very, very long reign. Number 4, Nikita Lyons. I know this one is a little shocking to people, but after her myriad of injuries, they haven't released her. She's still here, so they see something in her, and we're going to dive into all these names a little bit later. But Nikita Lyons has a unique look, different from a lot of women, and they can capitalize on that. Number 3, Keanu Carver. I'm also going to put him here with number 2, Jasper Troy. These two dudes need to find a way to separate themselves. They're now feuding with each other, a little black on black crime, if I do say so myself. Keanu Carver is just an angry black man, and Jasper was that, but he's mellowed out. So I want to see what these two dudes fight over, and they could become long-standing rivals. Number 1, Thea Hale, the former North American women's North American champion, won that title by a fluke. It was an accident, but they capitalized on that and used that to improve her character and move her forward. And with a more solidified reign, they can really do something with Thea Hale. She's still so young. She is very, very malleable, and we can see what they'll do with her. We'll be right back. The spotlight is back on, and it's shining on none other than Tasha Steelz. The former Knockouts champion is now part of the Order Force stable, and she's been a long-standing constant in the Knockouts division. Now that Order Force finished feuding with the system, they are now moving their way into something, right? And Tasha Steelz has kind of been the consistent in that group, even over Ali, who was gone for a minute. Tasha Steelz may never find her way to the WWE or to AEW or to Ring of Honor, hell, or even to Japan, but the one thing she has done has been a standard bearer for TNA, Knockouts champion, Knockouts tag team champion, and if they ever get themselves a mid-card title, she could do that as well. I could really see her stepping foot into NXT and really showing those women what's it all about. Tasha still has really flew under the radar for a lot of her career, and it's time for others to recognize just how good she is. We'll be right back. NXT. It doesn't mean anything. It kind of just means next. It is the WWE's development brand. At one point, it was treated as a third brand. Case in point, look at the Survivor Series where they won the majority of the matches. But NXT is where the future of the WWE lies. If you look at the current WWE roster, right, the main roster, the majority of their wrestlers have all come from NXT. That shows you it's working. If you look at the SmackDown roster, excluding the MFT, not named Solo, and maybe 5 other people on that roster, everybody else came from NXT. That shows you that it's working. That's great. So why are we on 3.0? Well, what happened with 2.0? So after Vince McMahon kind of just took over right out of the pandemic, NXT was in a transition period, and we got NXT 2.0. It was literally called NXT 2.0. This was right around 20. It was probably 2022 where we were at NXT 2.0. So NXT, right around 2022. 205 Live was still a thing. NXT UK was still a thing, and we had all these people, right? We had Mello and Butch and Cora Jade and Dolph was making an appearance, and Erica Ann, who remembers her, like Isla Dawn, Andy Hartwell, and Jakara Jackson. The New Day were making an appearance. Lucian Bryce. So we had Trick, and we had Mello. We had Gunther go through. We had Tony D'Angelo. NXT 2.0 was a thing, and it was about the future. It was a very, 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 very rough start for NXT 2.0. It was not good. It was not a fun watch. It was wild. It was colorful. So coming out of the NXT 2.0 era, going into the NXT 3.0 era, they lost a lot of men and women. On the men's side of things, they lost Ilya, Gunther, Braun, Mello, Trick. Those were Javon Evans, Obafemi. Women's side of things, they lost Julia, they lost Stephanie, Roxanne, Lash Legend, and on people that got released, Jakara Jackson, Cora Jade. They lost people. They lost a lot of their major stars, right? So we had to move forward NXT 3.0. That's what I'm calling it. And that's what we're going to look at today. All right. So I won't be before you very long. Just give me, 15 good preacher minutes. All right. And so we're going to go over the champions. And if someone's a part of a faction, right, I'm going to mention them with that faction and talk about them there more. Okay. So we look at the current champions. Current men's champion is Joe Hendry, making his way from TNA. I believe in Joe Hendry. He was always going to be champion. There was without a shadow of a doubt, Joe Hendry was going to be NXT champion. And the thing that ultimately hurts Joe Hendry as champion is he doesn't have a lot of good challengers. So they're building up Ethan Page. They're building up Ricky Saints again. And they just got to find some people to work with them. Joe Hendry is a great face on the men's side of things. Then you have the North American champion, Miles Bourne. He's tough because I don't know if he's going to fully succeed on the main roster. Again, I tell people all the time, blame the booking, not the wrestler. But I think his disability will help him. He's got a good look. You know what? He doesn't have a good look. He looks basic as fuck. Bald, tattoos, muscles. That's a basic look. So he's got to find a way to separate himself, to stand out. And I think they'll do that, right, with the championship around his waist and pairing him up with Joe Hendry, that will, I think, carry him just a little bit more. Joe Hendry is smack dab full of charisma, and that should rub off on Miles Bourne. Then we have the current tag team champions, the Vanity Project. So out of the Vanity Project, the two champions are Swipe Right. And they are the team of Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes. They have made their way from Evolve, right? They were part of that show, and along with Jackson Drake, who they see a lot in, who's pretty much the leader of the Vanity Project, they're going to be in NXT for a minute because they're so green, they're new, they're young, right? They ain't got no hair on their chest, but they play their part really, really well. They know how to get the most of the screen time that they're given, and they believe them so much they've made them tag team champions. So let that sink in, ladies and germs. And you have the current NXT Women's Champion, JC Jane. It's so funny. She is the last one standing out of Toxic Attraction, right? Mandy Rose is gone, thank God. And Priscilla Kelly is now doing her thing on the indies. JC's the last one standing, and she's a two-time NXT Women's Champion. She's also a former Knockouts champion. So it's crazy to think that she's the one left, but she's done great with it. And I could really see a babyface turn coming for her. But JC is just getting better and better and better each and every week, and I like that. Then you have the current Women's North American Champion, Tatum Paxley. They love her. If you all didn't know this, Tatum is probably the strongest woman in NXT, and she might be the strongest woman on the entire WWE roster, second only to probably Bianca Belair. They love Tatum. She's got the look. She's got the gimmick down. It's so funny to think where she started in 2022 to where she is now. Teaming her up with Lara Valkyria worked a lot, and fans love her, and I think she's ultimately going to catch on major on the main roster. Major. I think out of all the women in NXT, and they have a lot of bright stars in NXT, I think Tatum might be the one to go the furthest. Then we have the current men's speed champion, Elio LaFleur. I know nothing about this dude. Nothing. I don't know where he's from. I don't know what his gimmick is. I just know he's French. So I need to go and do research on him. I need to go look up where he's been. So he's wrestled around the world. He's been in CMLL, Progress, Rev Pro, GCW, All Japan, WXW, and AAA. So he's seasoned. That is actually very, very good that he's seasoned, that he has some skin in the game. That's going to do wonders for him. Then we have one of my favorites, the current women's speed champion, who is the new champion, Ren Sinclair. Ren, I remember her as Maddie Rinkowski when she was in AEW. That's where she got her start. And she's grown leaps and bounds, right? She debuted as a face. She joined the No Quarter Catch crew. And now she's doing it big with her tag team partner and Kendall Gray. And trust me, we will get to Kendall Gray. Maddie is, still a work in progress. Sorry, I'm calling her Maddie. Ren is still a work in progress, but she is building an identity for herself as a submission wrestler. And I think that is beautiful. She's using the scissors kick. She's using the bridging double chicken wing, and now which is AKA the cattle mutilation, calling it the final wrench. That's great. The cattle mutilation is one of the best submissions you can ever see. I like Maddie. She is adorable. She is funny, and she is someone they can build up as probably the next big baby face of NXT. And that's it for the champion. So let's look at the men's side of things. Who are they building upon, and who honestly has limited time here on NXT? Let me just go in alphabetical order. So we start off with Andre Chase. He is probably the odd one here. Chase University was a very, very big part of NXT 2.0. If memory serves me correctly, I think Andre Chase was on the War Games team in the War Games match when they took on NXT 3.0 and the NXT Black and Gold. Let me see. So I remember Ciampa was on the team. Yeah, it was Team 2.0. So no, he actually wasn't on the team. That's weird. That's really, really weird. I thought he would have been on that team, but Andre Chase, like I said, has been a big part of NXT. He's kind of just there, and they've broken him down. They've built him back up. They've taken away his faction. They've given it back. So now it's just him and his one tag team partner. So I don't know. I like Andre Chase. I think he can be a cornerstone of NXT. We'll see how far he can go. Then you have Eli Knight. He is the resident high flyer of NXT. Next to, I guess, Ilya LaFleur. He was signed through the WWE ID, working the independent scene. So he shows up every now and then. He's featured in Evolve. He's wrestled in GCW, CZW, AEW. So he's got some. He was on episode 205 Live. I did not know that. So he's got it. He's getting there. They like him. They like him, and he could do something. They feel a little real special about him. Then we have Ethan Page. Everybody knows Ethan Page, right? He came in. He's a former NXT champion, North American champion. He's been great. He's kind of one of those people where you can see him as a standard bearer, gatekeeper of NXT, right? But he's a talent that's been in this game for a minute, and he has to go to the main roster. I don't think he's long for NXT. He's just too much of a veteran of this business where you can't keep a veteran like him in NXT, right? I miss him in AEW. I miss him as the Men of the Year with him and Scorpio Sky. But he's got to do right for himself, and you got to do right by him. You've got to send Ethan Page up to the main roster. Then you have, like I said, black on black crime, Jasper Troy, Keanu Carver. These two dudes, along with someone else I'm gonna get to, are going to be in NXT for a minute. They are both green, but they're to be see something in them, and we need more black horses. I just hope Keanu Carver can get out of this angry black man shit, because it's not really working for him. Then you have Ricky Saints, light skin rock, as people like to call him. He's also not long for NXT. I think he and Ethan Page will be called up to the main roster way before Joe Hendry. I just think it's inevitable. He's going to the main roster. It's been up and down, hit and miss with him in NXT. But I think he's a person that is much, much better suited for the main roster. And lastly, Tony D'Angelo, who just came back. He is also someone that's been a big part of NXT. He was there for NXT 2.0. He was on that War Games team at, what was that? NXT War Games in 2021. He was on that team. So it's tough because what they're doing now, I believe, really isn't working. And him as the Don, I thought, was really, really good. They probably should have pulled the trigger on him a long time ago. On the tag team side of things, there's only really one truest of true teams left in NXT, and that's Hank and Tank. I don't know what to tell you about these two dudes. They have been there for a minute. They're just these fun dudes, and that's about it. They seem kind of bland. Maybe they're not, but they like them. They're going to be here. On the women's side of things, that's where NXT's bread and butter is really, really at. So you have Miss Adriana Rizzo, who's currently out with an injury, but they like her. Formerly with Tony D'Angelo. Again, she's green, but she's been there to be her entire career. And they're going to do something with her. Whenever she comes back from an injury, expect her to be immediately put in maybe to the Speed tournament or even possibly North American tournament, but she's got to get healthy first. And you're not remembering her, which is good. Then you have Blake Monroe. So the next grouping of women, starting with Blake, real talk, most of them aren't going to be in NXT long, right? Blake Monroe, formerly Mariah May of Stardom, New Japan, of AEW, where she's a former world champion, where was a part of one of the best women's rivalries in all of professional wrestling, probably in the last decade. And she's been up and down in NXT, but it's a matter of if not when she becomes NXT Women's Champion. The main roster is crowded, so you got to kind of probably wait for a few people to get cut. But she's going to be the core of the women's division for a long time. She's going to have her NXT Championship reign. She's going to have her North American Championship reign before she ultimately makes her way to the main roster. Jada Parker, Miss Parker. She's another one that is going to end up in the main roster. She's already catching on as a face. She's great as a heel. She's confident. She's got the look. She's great. She's also bound for the main roster. And now she's in this feud. Well, the feud's probably over with Blake Monroe, but I can see it continuing because Blake did cheat. Then you have Kelani Jordan, the first women's North American champion, who's probably the most athletic out of all the women in NXT. She's another woman that they see a lot in. She has a bright future in professional wrestling, right? Kendra Gray has all of the tools, and now this heel, it helps when people become heels because you can see a different side of this. We never thought Roxanne Perez would be great as a heel, but it's working for her. Then you have Kendra Gray. Kendra Gray has not been wrestling long, and she is in the same class as Tiffany Stratton and Roxanne Perez. She's a prodigy. Kendall Gray is it. I'm not trying to be hyperbolic. If she keeps at it, Kendall Gray will be the female Kurt Angle. Her and Sinclair are already doing wonders for each other, bringing out each other's personality. Something about Kendall Gray is just working. They know it too. They know out of all the women currently on the roster in NXT, Kendall Gray is, in my opinion, by far the best of the bunch. And there are women that have been wrestling longer than her. There's something there about Kendall Gray. and she will be NXT Women's Champion. Then you have Lola Vice. She's another one. Again, unique look, been in NXT for a minute, will be winning championships, will be on the main roster. All right. Nikita Lyons is slightly different. Injuries have derailed her a lot, but she's still here and they believe in her. And she's back on the TV. So Ruka is the obvious name who's pretty much, she's probably the next woman to make it to the main roster. She's already been on the main roster. Her and so her, Kaylani, Jada, Blake, and Kendall will be the new future of women's wrestling in WWE. So Ruka, they already know it. She's currently in this feud with her former tag team partner, who I'm gonna get to, and So Ruka is someone who's essentially destined for multiple championships on the main roster. Thea Hale is young, but she's growing. She's been in WWE, I believe, since she was like 18 or 19, and they keep putting her on TV, and she keeps taking everything they're throwing at her, and she's thriving at it. She's working with it. And then lastly, Zarya. Zarya's odd because when she was initially brought in, she was put onto the same pedestal as Julia and Stephanie Vaquer. They pretty much all came in at the same time. But as you can see, they've fallen back on Zarya. But her tag team with Sol Ruka has worked, and now they're in this feud. The women of NXT are, for the longest time, the bread and butter, the must-watch of NXT, and it's not changing anytime soon. And then we have the factions, right? We have Birthright. So Birthright is a combination of second-generation superstars, not second-generation superstars, but superstars with a wrestling family in their background. You have Uriah Connors, who is the son of Fit Finlay. You have Lexus King, who's the son of Brian Pillman. You have Brian Pillman. You have Charlie Dempsey, who's the son of William Regal. You have Channing Lorenzo, who's not anyone's son, but he's in the faction because he's the fiance of Ariana Grace, who's in the faction, and she's the daughter of Santino Marella. Charlie Dempsey's the newest member. This grouping right here is also, I think, if you hold them together, they can run NXT, get all the gold, and then make their way to the main roster. Ariana Grace is drop dead gorgeous, my God. And now that she's a heel, we're seeing a different side of her. Her as a face, she has her father's comedic timing, right? Lexus King is trying to make it himself not to be his father, and it's working. Uriah Connors is the one that has a lot of work to do because the faction was really waiting for his older brother David Finlay to come over from New Japan, but Dave decided to go to AEW, and Stax is done with Tony D'Angelo, so he's making a name for himself on the grouping side of things. And then you have Charlie Dempsey, the son of William Regal, who I think isn't fully all in on the group just yet, but they will be they'll be there. They're going to be everything that NXT needs them to be. Then you have, like I said from earlier, the Vanity Project. Where are they at? Vanity Project. Yeah, Brad Baylor and Ricky Smokes, the current NXT Tag Team Champions, and Jackson Drake, who's essentially the leader. We already talked about them. They are going to be here for a long time. Then you have Dark State. Look. Dark State is ass. They are whack. They are corny. They remind me of a really, really bad Retribution. But out of that group, I think Dion Lennox is the one that's going to probably break away and be the true star of the group. Cutler James, Osiris Griffin, and Shaquan Sugar. Shaquan Sugar, maybe. Shaquan Sugars, maybe. But Dark States are kind of boring. Then you have Fatal Influence. JC Jane, leader of the group, the current NXT Women's Champion. You have Fallon Henley and you have Lainey Reed. Lainey's the youngest one of the group, I believe. Lainey is... How old is Lainey? Lainey is 27. Fallon is... Maybe I was wrong. Yeah, Fallon's 31. And JC is 29. So yeah, Lainey has... How long has Lainey been wrestling? Not long. She's only been in WWE since 2023, but she's now making a name for her. She's growing. Fallon Henley used to be affiliated with, I believe, Chase U, or no, she's with Brooke Jensen and Josh Briggs. Remember, she was that cowgirl. But we have to see a different side of her Fatal Influence. These three women are also going to be able to break out as single stars in NXT. And then lastly, we have the culling. The culling consists of Izzy Dane, Nico Vance, and Sean Spears. Sean Spears is a veteran in this business. We know him all too well. Formerly Ty Dillinger, the Perfect 10. Nico Vance, I don't know a lot about him, but he's kind of the odd person out because they really do like Izzy Dane. Izzy Dane was a former North American Women's Champion, had a feud with Tatum Paxley, was a part of the culling, and she's going to do something. Another woman who probably should have been here but is out with injury and really they haven't done much with her because I think they moved her to Evolve, was Carmen Petrovic. So we have a few people in Evolve that essentially will make their way to NXT. Carmen Petrovic was already in NXT, but she'll be back. Carly Bright, Layla Diggs. Who am I missing? Anybody else? When you choose the veteran of the group, is there anybody else? That's pretty much it. They moved Brooke Jensen over to Evolve, which is good. Evolve is, if you don't know, the development for the development. But NXT 3.0, after losing Oba, after losing Trick and Roxanne and Mello and Ilya and a few others, they've got to start building up new stars. And the worst part is they're going to lose a few of these people that I've already named. They're going to lose Ethan Page. They're going to lose Ricky Saints. They're going to lose almost all of the women that I named. They're going to lose Blake, Jada, Kalani, Kendall, Lola, Soul, and Zari. They're going to lose all of those women. And you got to build them up again. So the future is getting better. And it's been a rough couple of episodes for NXT 3.0. But they're striving for it. Shawn Michaels is doing a fine job. And there are going to be stumbles. There definitely will be stumbles, but they won't be hard. You know what I mean? The future's good. NXT 3.0 is looking better and better each and every week, and I'm excited to see what the future of the WWE is going to look like. But that is our show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. You can check out the socials, Charismatic. Actually, no, look on the screen what we got coming up first. We got another week of shows left, a week or two, before we get into WrestleMania. It's going to be crazy. Check out the socials, Charismatic Creations on Facebook and YouTube, Charismatic_Creations52 on Instagram, and of course, the 215 on Twitter. And as always, Bailey, Isla Dawn, Priscilla Kelly, Chris Statlander, Anna J, and Willow Nightingale. I'll let you, boy. Peace.